Hello everybody, Ben Woodruff here. In today's video, I'm going to be teaching about a technological leap that ancient peoples in the New World came up with, and that was corrugated pottery. Now, I like to explain this to people as a Native American microwave, and we'll get into this. Pottery normally doesn't get people too excited, but this is a very interesting piece of history that not a lot of people understand. So normally when people learn about pottery in the ancient New World, especially in the Southwest, so we're talking southwestern United States and northwestern Mexico, normally there's kind of four types of pottery that are found. So if you're looking at pottery shards, of course there's the just a smooth grayware, we normally call it. It's just very functional pottery. And then there is the black on white pottery, which gets very decorative. And then there's the corrugated pottery that has a texture to it. And then, of course, there's also the black on red, which is more rare because it's using certain earth pigments to get that red color. It's very beautiful and often takes its influence from further south, from Mexico and Guatemala, where red pottery was everywhere. And we'll get into that later. But the corrugated pottery is what we're talking about. Corrugated pottery, again, at first glance, you would just think that it is just decorative. That's how it started. But who used this pottery? Well, we're talking specifically in this video about two basic groups of people. The first is in the southwestern, kind of in the Four Corners region, the people we call the Ancestral Puebloan people. Now that's kind of a big catch-all. Sometimes some of these people have been called the anasazi. Sometimes that has been differentiated, but currently in 2025 we use the term Ancestral Puebloan as a catch-all for these people in kind of the southwestern United States and into the northwestern part of Mexico. And then to the north, you have the Fremont people, who are basically in Utah, almost exclusively in Utah. Now, these are two distinctly different peoples, but they traded ideas and they traded goods back and forth. So when we're looking at the timeline on these people, the Fremont people, which were defined as hunter-gatherers, but became a little more agrarian with time. These people here in Utah, they're basically from 1 AD until about the 1300s AD. The Puebloan people have a bit longer range. They're starting about 300 BC, and they're pushing till about 1600 AD. So the Ancestral Puebloan people down south, they're in a hotter environment, and they picked up agriculture, and they started receiving corn, which came from the plant teosinte in Mexico. Mexicans domesticated corn or maize, and they started trading it up north along with all kinds of other goods. Now, if you're going to be agrarian, if you're going to commit to growing corn, then you have to go all in, because corn is a very intense, very water dense plant that needs tons of cultivation, tons of attention, but it has high yield, because the really nice thing about corn is you can just let it dry out and you can store it in granaries, and when you store it in these granaries, you have food storage, which we don't think about today. We have refrigerators and freezers. Our ancestors did not have that. And so the ability to just take some dried corn and take it off and grind it up on a mano metate, you can make basically like tortillas, or you can put it in a pot and you can cook it and make like a cornmeal mash. And so this was something that the Ancestral Puebloans committed to completely, and they started making very elaborate masonry structures, buildings, pueblos. Some of these were just out in the open. Some of these were in cliffs, in kind of more of a strategic location. But across the board, these got bigger and bigger and bigger until you have things like Chaco Canyon, New Mexico, where you have hundreds of rooms and 3, 4, 5-story tall pueblos. But again, this was fueled by corn. And so again, you dry your corn out and you can make it into a tortilla, or you can boil it up in a pot. Well, to the north, the Fremont were more of hunters and gatherers. So you're hunting instead of having domestic animals, and you're gathering wild plants instead of farming. But they started to get that influence from these Ancestral Puebloan people to the south, and they started to do some agrarian work, some agriculture. They started to grow corn, but they were still primarily hunter-gatherers. So they also started to use pottery as well. We see that the Ancestral Puebloan people just mastered pottery. To the north, the Fremonts had pottery, but it was a bit more rudimentary. But the styles we see do copy some of what we see with the Ancestral Puebloan, particularly corrugated pottery. So let's get into this stuff because this is actually really interesting and it's not what you expect. So today, when most people do pottery professionally, they do it on a potter's wheel. So, there's some sort of wheel. Nowadays, they're motorized. It used to be you had a little foot pedal underneath, you spun it around, and so you can form and shape that clay beautifully into exactly what you want. But in ancient times, and sometimes still today, people did coil pots. So you rub the clay together and just like make little clay worms, and you wrap it around, and then once you've made this pot, you smooth it all down. It's very cut and dry, and then you fire it, and once it's fired, you can use it to cook. That works, but we're humans, so we like self-expression, we like artistic expression, and so as you pinched the clay pot around, instead of smoothing the outside, some people started to just leave those divots on the outside and not smooth it out. The belief is that it was just purely decorative. It was just self-expression. It was just kind of cool looking. And the earliest pots to reflect that. The earliest corrugated pots don't have very well-defined corrugations. In fact, some of the Fremont ones almost seem like they're mimicking the corrugations they've seen in ancestral Puebloan peoples, but they're just not very indented. They're just decoration. But it turns out, if you have deep corrugations on a pot, it does something remarkable that we think that the ancient peoples stumbled across. So if you have a surface area of a pot, if you have a pot that's smooth and it's this size, and if you have a pot that's corrugated that's exactly the same size, those corrugations, those divots all around the same area, give the pot a greater surface area for which to radiate and absorb heat. And by doing so, it heats up much faster, sometimes as much as twice as fast. Now, I've done experiments with this where I've made clay pots, both corrugated and normal, and tested them out in a fire to see. And yeah, it's about double the speed that it heats up in. So again, I affectionately call corrugated pots a Native American microwave because it's a quick way to do it. So surely the people who are developing this pottery would have noticed that. They're like, wait a minute, doing these corrugations, they speed up the process. Now, whether they just understood that directly, like, hey, this makes sense, let's keep doing this, or maybe it was almost magic. Hey, if you put the magic divots in, it's going to heat up faster. Doesn't matter. What we see is that this technology got mastered by the ancestral Puebloan people. The Fremont people to the north, depending on the region, some people really did take off with this idea, and some still kept their pottery rudimentary with just a few divots around, but nothing too fancy or too special. So, but again, the whole point is that something that started off as art turned out to have a hugely beneficial technological advancement. Most people don't know what it's like to cook with clay pottery. I've done it many times, and it's not easy. Yeah, I've also cooked with cast iron pots, like Dutch oven, cast iron cooking, and you just heat it up. Doesn't matter. It's iron. It can withstand almost anything. But clay pots, you have to make a fire, and you have to let it burn down to semi-coals, and you have to slowly move the pot towards the fire, and you have to rotate it, because if one side of the pot heats up faster than the other side, it's going to break. So you have to slowly move it and slowly rotate it, get it in the fire, and then when you put your food in there and it's starting to heat up, it takes time, and quite a bit of time actually. Once it's going, it'll last a while, but that's a lot of time. So we're always go, 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 right? In today's modern world, we go to fast food instead of having sit-down restaurants a lot of the times. And same thing, we'd rather microwave something than cook it in the oven or the stove. Well, Native peoples were the same way anciently. They understood that, hey, you can make this new technology, and just by changing and putting divots all over this pot, it's going to heat up much faster. Not a lot of people are aware of this. Even a lot of archaeologists are not aware of this fact. That's why I want to make this video, so people are more aware of the fact that corrugated pottery, though it started off as an artistic development, it ended up evolving into something technologically useful for the people who made these pots. So next time you see a pottery shard laying around somewhere, If you see it's corrugated, you understand it's an ancient Native American microwave. So I hope you enjoyed learning this little snippet about corrugated pots, and I hope it kind of changes the way you look at pottery next time. But always remember that life is a gift. So never stop learning, never stop exploring. We'll see you next time.